Hello friends, welcome to my channel Cryptic Wisdom. According to the Buddha, the burden of the mind is a profound concept that highlights how our thoughts, emotions, and mental states can weigh heavily on us. Unlike physical burdens, which are tangible and limited in scope, the burdens of the mind are intangible yet pervasive, influencing every aspect of our well-being. These mental burdens often arise from attachments, fears, and desires that keep us entangled in cycles of suffering. The Buddha taught that our minds are capable of creating significant distress through negative thought patterns, such as worry, resentment, and self-criticism, which can overshadow our capacity for peace and happiness. The Buddha's teachings emphasize that true liberation comes from understanding and transforming these mental burdens. By practicing mindfulness and meditation, we can become aware of our mental habits and the impact they have on our lives. Through this awareness, we gain the ability to release attachments and let go of detrimental thought patterns. The goal is not to suppress or ignore these thoughts, but to observe them without being controlled by them, ultimately leading to a state of inner freedom and equanimity. Furthermore, the Buddha illustrated that the burden of the mind is often more challenging than physical obstacles because it is less visible and can deeply affect our sense of self and perception of the world. By addressing the root causes of mental suffering and cultivating compassion and wisdom, we can lighten the load our minds carry. This process involves acknowledging our mental struggles, practicing self-compassion, and embracing the impermanent nature of thoughts and feelings. In doing so, we can achieve a deeper sense of clarity and peace, freeing ourselves from the unseen burdens that cloud our minds. So friends, let's start today's story. Once upon a time, the Buddha was journeying through a lush, dense forest with one of his devoted disciples. Both had taken solemn vows of celibacy, committing themselves to a life free from romantic entanglements and close associations with women. Their vows were intended to help them focus solely on the path to enlightenment, believing that detachment from worldly distractions would bring them closer to spiritual realization. As they traveled from village to village, the Buddha took the opportunity to impart wisdom to his disciple. They discussed the profound purpose and meaning of life, exploring concepts of impermanence, compassion, and the nature of true happiness. The forest was alive with the sounds of chirping birds and rustling leaves, creating a serene backdrop to their philosophical conversations. One day, they reached a broad river with fast-moving currents. The water was deep, and the challenge of crossing it was evident. The Buddha and his disciple were strong swimmers, and after a brief discussion, they decided they would swim across the river to continue their journey. Just as they were preparing to enter the water, a young woman emerged from the trees, her eyes wide with desperation. She pleaded for their help, explaining that she needed to cross the river but was too frightened to attempt it on her own. Without a hint of hesitation, the Buddha calmly and gently offered to assist her. He lifted the woman onto his back and waded into the river. With effortless grace, he navigated the strong currents, carrying her safely to the other side. The woman, immensely grateful, thanked him profusely before continuing on her way. After the encounter, the Buddha and his disciple continued their journey in silence, the day's events weighing heavily on the disciple's mind. When they finally arrived at the village where they planned to rest, the disciple could no longer contain his curiosity and apprehension. "O great Buddha," he began cautiously, "I hope you do not take my question amiss, but I have been troubled since we helped the woman. We have taken vows of celibacy and have dedicated ourselves to avoiding all associations with women. Yet, you carried that woman across the river. Does this not contradict our principles?" The Buddha looked at him with a gentle smile and replied, "My dear disciple, I carried the woman only as far as the riverbank, where I set her down safely. You, however, seem to have carried her with you in your thoughts. It is not the physical act of helping her that burdens you, but rather your fixation on the vow and its strict interpretation." The disciple listened intently as the Buddha continued. It is important to remember that the spirit of our vows is more significant than their literal application. Our thoughts and preoccupations can weigh us down far more than any physical burden. True understanding lies in embracing the essence of our commitments, rather than being confined by rigid adherence to rules. With this profound insight, the disciple realized that the essence of their spiritual journey was not just about following rules but understanding and embodying their true meaning. The story of the river and the woman became a powerful lesson in compassion, detachment, and the importance of inner clarity. True spiritual growth comes from understanding and embodying the spirit of our commitments, rather than being confined by rigid adherence to rules. Our thoughts and preoccupations can burden us more than any physical challenge, so it is crucial to cultivate inner clarity and compassion.